Welcome back to our video series where we ask the question, how do women respond when people or life hurt us? If you haven't already done so, please check out the previous video. The number one answer was shutting down. Today, we're going to look at the number two answer. And you want to know what that is? Of course, drum roll please. It is self-doubt. What does it mean to possess self-doubt? The short answer is we lack confidence in the reliability of our thoughts, actions, personality, etc. Self-doubt can occur from someone else's perception of us. It may not be due to conflict, but just their level of influence in our lives. I developed self-doubt because of someone's influence in my life. In high school, I was taking a physics lab. Unfortunately, it was not making sense to me at all. So much so, my teacher rather, came over to assist me. He noticed that I wasn't getting anywhere. While he was there, he started to joke with me in a very condescending manner, which of course didn't make me feel smart at all. He eventually saw that I wasn't getting anywhere. He didn't want to put any more time into me, so he left. Once he left, of course, I felt even more incompetent. I felt so bad about myself. I was like, why can't I understand this? It shouldn't be that difficult. Of course, with all that pressure, I didn't get very far at all. By the end of the class, he came back over to see how I was doing, and he noticed that I didn't get anywhere. He started to joke some more, and at the end of his joking, he made the statement, "Khmer, please do not become an engineer." I remember those statements, and because of that, I started to not believe that I was intelligent. Of course, I couldn't figure this out. That meant I would never, ever be able to be an engineer. I took hold of his comments. Later in life, when I wasn't able to succeed or wasn't able to figure things out, I remember the things that he told me. It fueled my self-doubt of not being intelligent and eventually not being good enough at all. In the previous video, I talked about being removed from serving as a youth leader. Of course, during that time, I also experienced self-doubt of not being good enough, thinking that I wasn't intelligent. Perhaps this other person knew God better than I did. And then I also started thinking, well, God doesn't want to use my talents. If he did, I would be doing something right now, but he didn't. So of course I must be a sinner. Of course I must be flawed. So I left with the thought that God didn't want to use me. And I definitely thought that I wasn't able to see myself as God saw me. You know who else struggled with self-doubt? Yep, Elijah. We talked about him in the first video where he killed 450 foreign prophets. Well, did you know before he did that, there was a severe famine in the land? There was no rain. It was a drought for over 3 years. And what did Elijah do? He pleaded to God. He asked God to send rain. And God, well, he answered. He sent rain, and he demonstrated that he alone is God. When the prophets came on the scene, Elijah killed them, 450, being used by God. Again, God demonstrated that he alone is God. So when Elijah fled to the mountain, he forgot who he was. He forgot that God used him powerfully. He totally devalued God's role and authority. He totally forgot that he was actually being used by God. So we pick up this story. Elijah is in the cave, hiding out. So let me stress this, because I know I was doing it. When I'm consumed with self-doubt, normally I'm hiding out. I'm not showing my true talents and gifts. I'm not allowing God to be glorified in my life. Instead, I believe all these crazy things about me. Elijah thought the same way. And you know what? I enjoyed reading Elijah's story because he was a prophet, powerful, and yet you see him being human. He had self-doubt. But how did God respond to him? He said, Elijah, go back and do my work. God saw and knew that Elijah had something to contribute to. God wanted to use him. He did not want Elijah's self-doubt to keep him from his work. I want you guys to think for a moment. Think about yourself. What things in your life has kept you from doing God's work because you only focused on false truths? That's self-doubt. For Elijah, his self-doubt left him faithless, hiding in the cave. What about you? Are you hiding from something? Self-doubt, it has the following characteristics. It makes it difficult for you to complete tasks. You sabotage yourself. For instance, you may think, okay, I'm not smart enough. I heard that one already. Therefore, I'm not going to study. And of course, you don't study, you don't pass. But you self-sabotage yourself. Another manifestation of self-doubt is that you don't think that you're good enough in your friendships, or that you don't deserve a good friendship. You may interact with people with this perspective that you are not good enough to be with them. So what do? They don't want to be around you. No one likes to be around Debbie Downer. Well, how about this one? You're so consumed with yourself that you think about achieving everything all the time. It's always about what can you do. So you overextend yourself. And in the process, you talk about yourself all the time. We all know we can't stand those people talking about themselves all the time. How about this? You may compare yourself to others, emphasizing your lack of confidence, what you can't do, you're not good enough. Again, that seems to be the common theme. Or you may minimize your achievements. Even how good you look. Someone said, girl, you know you're wearing that good outfit today. And you're probably like, oh, no. Minimizing self-doubt. How does self-doubt look in our relationship with God? Well, as we saw with Elijah and even myself, we question God's authority. We forget his power. How about we think we don't have any talents altogether? Again, I did it. Or even this one, we stop participating in our church community. We think we don't belong. We may even think that we have no place at all. Again, did all of those. We all experience self-doubt at some point in our lives. But it usually leaves us to think that we're not being used by God, or that God doesn't want to use us at all. God worked hard to remove my self-doubt. At one particular point in my career, I would like to tell you guys, I did become an engineer. It wasn't electrical, it was computer engineer. See, God said, you know what? Your brain does work that way. I just had to have confidence in what he created in me. I was actually, can I say, brilliant. I had no idea. I get to say that and laugh a little bit because my high school teacher didn't have the victory. There are things in your life where God is trying to say, you know what? What someone else's perception is not accurate. I don't want them to have victory in your life. Think about it. What are things that has kept you from his greatness? Our call, my challenge, your challenge is to remember that God has great things in store for you. And he doesn't want you to live in self-doubt. Instead, he wants you to return to his work. Again, we just started the conversation. We're not done. Please go to ahealingpeace.com. We have a wonderful companion workbook to this video. It will help you as you continue your healing journey. And of course, while you're there, leave us some feedback. Let us know if this is helping or if there's other things that you would like to see. We want to know. We want to be here with you. Thank you.